Hey there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is shifting shame. I was thinking about this last night and this month because the topic kind of keeps coming up. And so there's a few different ways I want to talk about it. The first is that there's a gentleman that I'm praying for every day, throughout the day. I'm holding a lot of conscious awareness for this being. It's my dear friend's nephew, and he's coming out of addiction and stepping towards working with a shaman. And in order to work with a shaman, he has to have, I think, like 30 days off of the drug he was addicted to. And so every day I am tuning into the web of life and sending awareness psychically to him that he's not alone, that he can do this. So I'm constantly like tuning into his channel and checking in with my friend to see how he's doing. And he's doing well. Yay. But one of the things she had mentioned is just, struggling with, and this often happens, the reason a lot of addicts remain addicts is they became addicts to begin with because of trauma. Gabor Mate is a phenomenal teacher on that. If you're not familiar with Gabor Mate, and addiction is a topic that interests you, I highly recommend him. He's a brilliant, beautiful, beautiful soul. But he talks about like addiction doesn't come from nothing. It stems from trauma, and we become addicted to alcohol, which numbs us to our feelings, and drugs, which numb us to our feelings, so that we don't have to assimilate the tremendous pain involved with trauma. I would say the same thing about defensiveness. We're not defensive for no reason. If someone's being defensive, it's because they feel attacked. You know what I mean? If someone's doing drugs, it's because they've seen some things they potentially don't want to look at, or they've experienced some things they potentially don't want to feel. And so, but as this beautiful, beautiful being that is in my heart and my mind and my prayers every day, flushes up in my field, and as I'm talking to my friend about this, she was saying that he's having some shame around choices, decisions, the ways that he treated people. And it's been my experience that severe addicts lie, manipulate. They do a lot of things that may not actually be the innate nature or character of a person that's not struggling with addiction. So it's easy to just be like, oh, they're just a lying cheater. They stole all my money. But addiction can do a lot of interesting things to a two-legged, and it doesn't mean that that's a permanent state for them. It's important to know, when you struggle with addiction, it can change the character of people you hang out with. It can change the quality of consciousness based on those conversations and how they shift. And it can change the your innate character and choices you make due to the grip of addiction. So I was having a lot of empathy for that piece of him feeling shame, and was just letting her know some things to talk to him about, which is, first of all, shame is simply judgment aggressively applied. It's like where we go like, oh my God, I can't believe that I did that and I'm bad. It's a component of like, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I did that, and now I'm bad and wrong. And the ego almost can't hold it. Well, he's not bad, he's not wrong. He had some type of trauma or some type of tribulation or some type of something that caused him to be uncomfortable enough to step into this addiction. And as a result of the addiction, many things have transpired. And although we are 100% responsible for our choices, we're 100% responsible for choosing to step into an addiction, choosing to stay on it. We are making choices. The math on it's a little bit different than that. The math on it's a little bit different than that. So I'll use a personal example that's really painful for me, that I'm really grateful to the last man that I dated asked me this question a couple of different nights when we were being very intimate. He was asking me about my divorce. And I am divorced because I had an affair. And so he was asking me about that. And I was telling him, and it like hurt. I was like, I'm sorry, it's making me so emotional. And it does. I brand myself with a huge scarlet letter A. I think in a lot of ways I'm single today because I'm still punishing myself for it, because I cannot believe that Heather Feather has the ability to tell a story today that she had an affair. It's so counter to my nature. Yet it did occur, and I'm 100% responsible for it. And I am responsible for it. And so that's my great shame. And there was so much, I was like, I hadn't talked about it in a while. And I was amazed at like how much emotional pain. My ex-husband, we were trying to build a business together. He's now a millionaire. He's married. He has like a 10 or 11-year-old daughter. He's thriving. Love that for him. I prayed that for him a bunch after we got divorced. Love that story, and would want nothing more for him than all the graces, because he is the entity in my lifetime that I wronged the most. And it's really hard for me to sit with. And I do feel ashamed that I made a commitment and I didn't keep it. And it's part of why, it's a massive part of why today I am extremely monogamous, extremely loyal. It very much show up if I give my word, and I'm very careful to not give my word, because if I give my word, I demand that I show up, because I have seen behavior from me that is not allowed. And so, not to be too graphic, but for me, I only masturbate to the thought of my lover when I have a lover. It can be difficult for me because I don't use pornography. I use my imagination. I like for it to be strong. I like to titillate and tickle the idea of being physically present with a person. And I don't want to go into other people's bedrooms to do that. I want to do that with my own daydreaming of them and pining for them until I get to be with them. And so there are ways in which I have woven loyalty and devotion into my life to such a degree that even on dating sites, it's difficult for me. I don't like talking to more than one person at a time. It gives me anxiety. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I just only talk to one person. Like, it's too much. I don't talk to all these people. Just the one person, it merits my attention. And it's not that I have to do all these extreme measures to remain loyal. I am innately a loyal monogamous person, just like an addict is innately a good person. They're not bad people, even if they commit acts of lying or stealing, or it doesn't, that like one action or one period of actions does not make the whole character and matrix of a being. And so one of the things that he was fleshing up for me is like, can I forgive myself for this? I got married when I was like 20. I'm 48, Heather. I just had a friend at one of the medicine circles say to me, like, so this affair that you had, is he in a good place now? I'm like, yeah, he's a multimillionaire. He's married. He has kids. He didn't even want kids. Like, he's thriving. She's like, that sounds great. Are you in a better place? I'm like, oh my God, yeah. My commitment, my loyalty is unlike, anyone I've ever met. Like, when I give a commitment, I freaking mean it. And she's like, that sounds amazing. That affair sounds amazing. You know what I mean? Sounds like it did a lot of great things. And I was like, I never really thought of it that way. But, part of shame is how we frame and hold our experiences. So I don't necessarily ever hold that as amazing, but many good things did come out of it. When we were married, I was working, I was paying the bills, I was cleaning the house, I was cooking dinner, I was doing everything in the relationship. Pretty much I was doing everything in the relationship. That's my own dysfunction and imbalance, because I get my ideas of partnership from TV, from I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, Leave It to Beaver. My dad drowned when I was a baby. I don't have a model of relationship, so my model came from TV. So I often play the woman and the man in the relationship because my mom played both roles, and I got those roles through TV. And so I was playing all those roles, and when my mom died, I told him, I'm like having sexual thoughts about another person. I feel like I want to have sex with this other person, and I feel very reckless. We need therapists, and can you handle that? Because I feel crazy. I don't care if I fetus when I come home. I feel crazy right now. My mom died. And obviously we didn't make it to therapy. None of that justifies my behavior. I'm 100% responsible for having an affair, which is why it's so hard for me to let go of this shame piece of like, you were bad and wrong. Because I do think it's not appropriate to offer commitment and then not show up for it. I think you need to have a conversation. Like I did, I did say like, I feel like I can't keep my commitment to you right now. But I shouldn't have crossed the line of not keeping the commitment, right? A week later, I wound up having the affair. And so that's on me, you know what I mean? But do I need to walk with a lifetime of shame? Have I flogged myself enough? Can I allow myself to go, okay, that was crazy. I know the sun will rise. I will never, ever have an affair again. I know what monogamy means to me. It is a very clear line for me. And I don't expect others to have my same, like, you're welcome, my partner's welcome to masturbate. They can watch porn. I don't care. You don't have to be as wackadoodle as I can be. I don't expect that. But there are good things that did come out of it. And am I going to continue to hold it in this shame frame, or am I going to shift it to all the graces that are present today as a result of that evolutionary experience that both of our souls were given through my failure to keep my word. The gentleman I just dated, I did a video on communication and kind of expressed how communication was part of the issue. Well, part of the reason it was the issue is after like a week of dating, he came to me and in a very intimate moment was like, there's 3 women I really like, and I've been sleeping with all 3 of you this whole week. And it's like, okay. To me, that's not monogamy. For me, it did increase on some layer or plane trust for him to put that out there, because it was very uncomfortable. He was very ashamed, it felt like, of what he was doing, and he did come clean. People have a tendency to do that with me, I think, because of my love of truth. I watch people all the time, they'll lie to me, and within 24 to 48 hours, they'll tell me the truth. And so this guy didn't meet me for the first week or first 4 or 5 days. And then so we started seeing each other, and once we started seeing each other and dating each other, then at some point, several days after that, he comes to me and is like, oh my gosh, I'm sleeping with these other women, but I really like you, and I don't want to lose you. I think I like you best. And I love that honesty. Thank you. I love the truth. Even if it hurts, like a dagger in the heart when you give it, like, thank you for your bravery and courage and capacity to bring it to the table. Even if you bring it late, I'm always grateful when truth comes to the table. And so I got to sit with, how do I feel about that at 48? Do I care? Like, I know I'm monogamous, and I told him, like, I am perfectly entertained by one lover. That to me feels like a lot to begin with, because I have many jobs. So that feels like a lot to me. But so I don't need more than one person. One person is a lot to unpack and connect to physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That seems like a massive job to really create intimacy. But I got to sit with this, because it's like, how do I feel about this? Do I feel attached to what you do? And it's like, yeah, I like being STD free. I got my full STD panel, and but so I don't know who you're going to go sleep with. I don't know if you're getting massages with happy endings. I don't know what you're doing out there, and I don't necessarily want anything in my delicious ocean. But I'm not superior in that. STDs are a way that humans often have shame, and I've had humans lie to me about it. Have herpes, not in a breakout, have sex with me and tell me afterwards, oh, by the way, I have herpes. I'm very grateful to have just had a full panel and recognize I'm completely STD free, but the majority of Americans have herpes. So can we just be honest about that? Do we have to be so ashamed of it? If most people have it, you may find that people that don't have it are perfectly happy to have sex with you with protection, or they may, pardon my French, raw dog it. They might not care. But give them the opportunity to have a conversation around that before you give them the opportunity to contract it. It's amazing to me how many things we would rather just kind of hide behind a jagged rock. And when I was dating this man, there's a tarot deck I have that's amazing. It's called Mermaids, Dolphins, and Magical Creatures of the Sea. My friend Lily Rick gave me this. Very positive deck, amazing deck. I've enjoyed it for a long time. And I kept hearing this line. It says, a relationship will not end right if it begins wrong. Telltale signs may lead you to question another's honesty. Perhaps shame will be hidden behind a jagged rock. I kept hearing that. Perhaps shame will be hidden behind a jagged rock. Perhaps shame will be hidden behind a jagged rock. Like, this card kept flushing up in my mind when I started dating him. And I was like, what are we doing, guys? And he did, within the first week of us dating, come and confess many things to me, including the 2 women he was still sleeping with. And it's like, well, feels to me like trust has been broken. And I don't know where we go from here, because if we're just starting out and already you have difficulty being your word to me, I know that I don't have a lot of difficulty being my word. I don't. I know I've had lessons around it, and I know I've failed myself in that. So I don't judge him for it at all. I freaking get it. But perhaps it's time to shift the shame that we hold hidden behind this jagged rock inside of us into a reframe of, what did you gain from it? What did you get out of it? What did you learn? What's present now as a result of that thing that gives you shame? Are there any different choices you can make instead of continuing to be ashamed and just moving forward, keeping it pushing? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, like and comment there. I always love to hear your thoughts. I'm Winnie.